Hi, it's River. If you haven't ever seen one of my videos before, I'm kind of documenting the process of learning or discovering that I could be or that I am multiple at this point. So it's a lot of these videos are me just trying to document the process of how the symptoms are manifesting in my life and the stages of accepting the reality of being multiple. So I'm the host of this body, this system. So I wanted to just talk about a video that one of the people in this body, or as some people call them, the alters. I'm just gonna fix the camera. One of my alters, her name is Brielle. She made a really good video talking about. Actually, it wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't that good, but near the end it was good. It's a very hard topic to talk about, but she made a topic talking about realizing you're an alter in a system. So I just wanted to talk about that as a host, like realizing I'm a host of a system or that I'm also an alter, but from like the host perspective. So yeah, let me just jump in to the video. Um, so one of the things is first I want to talk about how amnesia works in our mind. So there's not amnesia between all of us, like between the parts but there's amnesia as a whole. So I don't remember like 95% of my life. Um, yeah, I would probably say like 95% of my life. But what I do remember, we all can remember. So I think because of that, it was really hard for me to, because I never really felt like I always knew, actually, that's not even true. Up until maybe, so I'm 29 now, up until I was about 20, I thought how much like time loss or whatever you want to call it, how much like gaps in my memory or the blackouts, the severity of it, I thought that was just normal. Like little things like, because going from your 20s, I'm really exiting my childhood and entering adulthood. So people saying things like, oh, I can't remember my childhood. I just thought, oh, well, neither can I. So I never questioned it. And I do think it's like normal to not remember most of your childhood, but I think people meant like you being a toddler or like 6 and under, but I don't remember like even my late teen years or my early 20s. Like I don't remember any of that. Um, so yeah, so because of that, it was really hard for me to track like abnormal things or just the symptoms being multiple. I never really could reflect back and be like, how to do that. um, so all I really had were things, the small percentage that I could remember, and most of that I was just up until recently I thought were other things. Like for example, I had BPD, and in the video Brielle talks about how she did a really good job talking about this actually. She basically talks about because like the host and because like we all share the same like memory bank, because like I had BPD, I always had a lack of identity or like I like identity diffusion kind of. So that ambivalence between my alters, that contradictory and like career aspirations, life aspirations, gender identity, sexual identities, um, because that was so really prevalent in my life. I thought that was BPD, lack of identity, and I still think I do have lack of identity, but now that I've been able to look back and what I can remember and identify, oh, I do that because of Brielle, I do that because of Derek, I do that because of Damien, I do that because of Carl, because I'm able to do that, um, I'm able to figure out what of that scope is me and realize it's still not really an identity. So yeah, we all just kind of felt like we didn't have identity. Like we have like small pieces of what we can remember and what we feel like is distinctly me, like us. Like each person thinks that's me. Um, but I'm trying not to like really dive into my life. I'm trying to think of like speak to myself. But yeah, because of that, I never questioned. I never thought it was strange to really not have an identity and or like be so different, and we never questioned that. Moving on, thoughts in my head. So like when internal communication is what I should call it actually. Um, I never thought, a lot of this video is me saying I never questioned it or I never realized, because that's the whole point of the video. I never realized that was a system. um, I never realized. So I've actually been watching a lot of DID videos. I think it was like my subconscious speaking to me, or whatever. Watching DID videos since I first thought I was a system back in 2018. So I know a lot about the disorder. So I knew a lot about, it's one of the things I still struggle to really wrap my mind around though, is like internal communication. And it's because it seems like other systems have like distinct voices in their heads. Like they can hear another alter in their head. They can hear another, like someone on the phone or someone in the room with them. Like it's a distinct voice. I don't have that. I have thoughts. They don't sound like me, so I don't know when they're mine or when they're not. And I just, because I thought I was the only person in this body, I was like, yeah, that's all me. Like all these thoughts are mine. So like when little things would happen, like when I would have thoughts where I would be like, why the fuck did I think that? Or like, well, that was really rude to think. Or when I would like talk to myself back and forth, I thought that was like normal. Because it never sounded like anyone else. It just sounded like what my own internal monologue sounded like. So I never questioned it. And I know, like when I was a young teenager, I remember this, and I wonder why this was stuck with me so intensely. I wonder because this is something I was struggling with. But I saw this like Tumblr screenshot, and it was like, I don't remember who it was. I just remember what the content was, and it said the first thought that I think is what society, someone was like, my mother told me the first thought I think is what society tells me when you like think something bad. Like you look at someone like, why would you wear that? Like stuff like that. When you judge someone, that's like what society tells you to think. The afterthought of like, well, oh my god, who cares? Who gives a fuck what they're wearing? Why does that even matter? Like that, like correction is how I actually feel. So like knowing, like I thought, oh, so like when there's like a back and forth like that, it's normal. So I never really questioned that either. I never really had, up until recently, and this is actually something that's pissing Brielle off, but I never had weird things happen. Like I never bought things and wondered where I bought them from, or I never had things go missing until recently. And that is, a lot of the female clothing that Brielle has been buying has been disappearing. Like, I don't know, none of us know. Like, that's like, it's kind of freaky to me, because like, I don't lose shit, and like to lose only female clothing is like so bizarre. So it makes me a little uncomfortable, if I'm being honest, that that's happening. But that was like the only like external thing where I was like, ain't that strange. And that wasn't until recently, after I like started to accept that I was a system. What's another big thing? I don't know. It's just like, because like I said, we have amnesia as a whole, and it was so severe. I never was able to like, I think one of the things people realize for why they're a system is they have blackouts, and I never had that. That wasn't my reality, so I never had that to lean back on. And I'm trying to like think of things. I never like really, none of us really like pre-think of videos, so I don't have a script to go off of. Brielle tries to do it sometimes, but she usually fails it anyways. But yeah, I never like, I don't know. I think the biggest thing is like, I always had a lack of identity, so like I never really questioned it. And I remember when I started to realize I was trans, is when I went through a really bad like crisis with like identity, and that's when I first started to realize that like I really struggled with this, because I like couldn't figure out what I felt like. And to this day, like B River still struggles with this. But I was like, I knew I wanted my body to look like quote unquote like a man. But I didn't know, I couldn't land on something internally to like talk about like what I felt like. And I think it's because it was too hard for me to like really identify like I feel this way. This is what I feel like. And it was just like so much like confusion, I guess. I think like it's just like literally like I never had an easy time. Like I think the whole point is like Brielle that have talked about this. It's like it's alternate states of identity. Well, when you don't have a fucking identity, it's hard to really realize when it's an alternate identity. I think that's what this video comes down to. Like I never really experienced blackouts, but I would experience like total blackouts. So I never was able to track and realize when things were weird in the first place. I never like I never really claimed anything about myself to be true about myself. So when I would act totally different, like when a little would front, I'd be like, fuck it. Like, I don't care. I like Disney too. Fuck it. Yeah. I never really was like, why was I acting like a 5-year-old? Like I never cared. Like I just didn't give a shit. And like I wasn't like acting like a 5-year-old where I was like fucking like throwing a tantrum, whatever that word is, rolling and crying on the floor. It would just be like I wanted to like build Lego and like have stuffies and stuff. Like I just like let myself live. Like I don't judge myself. I don't care. So like when there would be differences in my alters when they would front, I never got freaked out by that. And I think it's also because I never realized that feeling of another alter. I will not be able to put this into words because you had like once you start to accept. Like I'm not saying whoever's watching this. I'm not saying like you are or not a system if you're questioning, but I think like allow yourself to explore the possibility, because once you do, you may like be more aware of things you hadn't before, because that's kind of what happened with me. So it wasn't until I made videos about this in the past, or like one of my alters did. It wasn't until like I had very blatant times where there was I River lost full control of the body, but was still like seeing this shit happen in real time. It wasn't until like that started happening that I realized, oh, like that's not me. That's not me at all. So other times that happened in my life, I didn't have the awareness because I didn't understand what I was feeling. It's almost like I'm sure there's people who like war veterans, or like not people who are like so severely traumatized, just regular people too, who like don't realize, oh, like when I start having a racing heart or I feel like I'm gonna explode, like that's anxiety. Like I think when you haven't been able to like fully relate to something, you don't understand that's how that thing that you should be able to relate to is what you're experiencing. You need to like have that like waking up experience. So I didn't have that until I started questioning if I was a system. So all the things in my past that the feeling of switching, or because I didn't have the understanding, and I think you need to do your own research, because I didn't have that understanding, or because I was denying it so intensely, I just didn't realize that's what it was. So yeah, and I think also like the whole point of being a system is the host is not supposed to know. We do think as a collective that whenever one of us is like inside, wherever the inside is or whatever it is, we like lose all access to that. So when they front again, it's hard. I don't know where I was going with this. I don't know. I don't remember. Now I'm just dissociating. even before, like I never knew what fucking dissociation was. I always thought like I'd see people doing it, look like they were fucking high, like, and I never realized, oh, it's just like, for me, it's like my mind just goes blank. I never realized that's actually what dissociation is. And again, because I never questioned it, like when I would just like people say like, "Oh, I lost my train of thought." I was like, "Oh, that's what that was." Like, what that the thing that just happened. I was like, "Oh, I just lost my train of thought." I guess no, I was dissociating. Um, I guess that's another thing. People always talk about like, um, losing train of thought. Sorry, so now one of my neighbors is coming to his car. Okay, he's not coming anywhere near here. But yeah, people always talk about like dissociating as like a highway hypnosis, but I think like another one that we should start like getting out there is like losing your train of thought is could be a form of dissociation too. Not always, like sometimes you just lose your train of thought, yeah. But it just once you know it, you know it. I'm really trying to keep this video short, but I still want to keep rambling on. um So yeah, let me just talk about that. Again, dissociation. I never realized what dissociation was, and also like hold on. I'll talk about these two things that I'll solve. The whole point of being a host is like you're not supposed to know you have DID until like you're ready to know, and it took a while for me to be ready to know, and the first time my mind tried to tell me I think it was the psychosis was another defense mechanism because it was like, wait a goddamn second now. And my mind just broke because it was like, we can't handle this. So yeah, it was like normal for me not to know, I guess. Like you'll just like make excuses and you'll just like, I don't know, like you just like, you won't realize that the shit's fucked up that's going on. You just won't think about it. And then, going on, I think you would be able to know if you're dissociating in like your childhood and stuff, but I didn't even know what dissociating was until I don't remember, but until my like 20s. And then, even then, I had a hard time really being like, oh yeah, that I do dissociate, because like it just, I don't know, when I would see it on video, people looked like they took a hit of helium or something. I don't know. And then like it just didn't feel like what I did. Like, and nobody told me. I'm still so mad about this. Like, I would always talk about how I feel like I don't have emotions. I feel like everything is from like, I constantly feel like I didn't have emotions. Really, I was just dissociating from that. There was such a detachment from like I felt like there was a detachment from like my head and my body. Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel things. I just like think things, and like that's what my mental health is. My mental health is just my thoughts. It was because I was so heavily dissociated from my life that I just couldn't connect to my body. And so yeah, I really struggled with that for a long time. And like no one told me. Like I'm so mad about that. Like I said, like I would talk about that in therapy, how like I felt like I really thought I was a psychopath. I was like, I don't have emotions, when really I was just detached. So that was another one that like I never realized was like fucked up. Okay, we're at 20 minutes. I'm gonna stop now. But I hope this video made sense. Yeah, maybe this might be a video more one of us try to like really hatch out and like think about. But I was just inspired to make a video because I know Brielle really struggled with it. I really struggled with it. So, because I'm really like I said, I don't have like the history to backtrack. So I'm really trying to like not talk about things that are like, I'm trying to talk about like the nuanced side of things, I guess. So it's really difficult too. But yeah, I hope whoever's watching this liked it, and I hope if you're watching this and you're questioning being a system, you know, I'm doing the same thing. We're in the same boat. So I don't want to say you're not alone, but you're not alone. Bye.